Hey everyone, and welcome to the Nostalgia Effect. I'm Amy, and we got Johnny.
We do have Johnny, it's true.
And we have Joe.
Also true.
Oh, Johnny's not speaking today.
He's mic shy.
I'm taking a vow of silence, guys.
Oh, thank God.
And now, you guys have ruined it.
Well, why'd you take a vow of silence on the day that you knew we were recording this podcast of the movie that you chose?
I think he's being passive aggressive.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
What
I
movie
am
did
here.
you choose to talk to?
Was this?
about
Oh,
today?
was this my pick? I don't
This was
really
your
remember.
pick.
I mean,
I think so.
it just appeared on the list, and I was like, hey, that's a good one. Today we're here to talk about The Mummy,
Starring Tom Cruise.
everyone's favorite mummy. Tom Cruise. No, 1999. Brendan Fraser.
But before we start talking about the Mummy, we got some talking trailers. Do you have anything?
I do. In that, I mean, it's not really talking trailers.
It's in stuff. It's talking trailers and stuff. Because I have something to talk about also. It's short, but it's and stuff. So we can talk about your thing first.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Johnny, whip out your thing.
My thing.
Tell us about it.
Is very average. No. I am. I was. I don't know. You guys know this because I talked to you guys about it. But Kingdom Hearts 3 released yesterday, as of this recording.
A week ago as of this podcast.
Whatever. Whenever this comes out, it's been out. It had been out a while. So the whole reason, this game, Kingdom Hearts, it's been in development for like, God knows how long. The last one, the last numbered one, this is Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2006. So it's been a good 13 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a long time. And I started playing it yesterday when I got home. I was waiting all day to fucking get out of here. So I can go home and play it. And
you had to sit in an hour and a half on traffic.
yes, traffic was the worst, of course, on the day that I get the game.
That's why. You're the cause for that traffic.
After 13 years of waiting, it was another good, long wait to get home. But anyways, started playing it, and the game itself it's a children's game, basically. I mean,
it's a Disney game, right?
It's Disney and Final Fantasy mixed together. Which you wouldn't think works, and maybe it doesn't, but it works for me, and it worked for me when I was 12 or whatever. I think the first game came out in 2002.
And mentally, you haven't aged much since then.
Not much, no. It's not.
No, you're still a 12-year-old.
Not much different, no. I have the body of a 12-year-old too. I'm very small.
Where do you keep it?
But anyways, I was playing this game, and it just brought back so many memories of being 13, 14 years old playing the game.
Yeah.
Wait, it's basically been almost half your life since the last
kind of, yeah.
last game.
I mean, yeah.
Shit.
I mean, they've released subsequent games, but they're not
As good as the first one?
well, no,
Or-
they're off to side games, kind of like Star Wars. You know how Star Wars has
like the Star Wars story type
Star
thing?
Wars
Yeah.
stories type stuff, where it's it's part of the story, but it's not the main campaign. It's not the main thing.
I've heard some of the lore behind Kingdom Hearts and all the weird iterations and branches it goes off in.
It makes no sense.
And they bring it into some of the Final Fantasy games, or they bring some of the Final Fantasy games in at random times in Kingdom Hearts breakout games.
Oh,
No,
so it's not it's not a game like Final Fantasy and Disney. It is Final Fantasy and Disney.
Yes. So it's
Yeah.
it's characters from Disney. Basically, it's characters from Final Fantasies and new characters going to Disney worlds. There's a whole
I love
Not
Disney
the
World.
park. Not the park, Joe. Sorry.
not the park. There's
Worlds from Disney.
yeah, worlds from Disney. So there's a Hercules world, Alice in Wonderland world.
The Little Mermaid one. I saw somebody
Little
playing
Mermaid world.
when they released that pack of stuff earlier last
Yeah,
year.
yeah, the
I was
collections.
watching someone play it on Twitch, and they were going through the Little Mermaid world, and it was they give Goofy this weird, awkward mermaid tail.
No, Goofy's a turtle.
Somebody has a weird, awkward tail, and one
Yeah,
person's
Sora, the main character
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
that.
games, he is a,
And then Donald's a
merman.
Donald's a crab or something.
How come it's merman, but it's mermaid? Why isn't it mer butler?
I
Joe.
hate you, Joe.
Pretty sure I stole that from somewhere.
I hate you so much.
That's like why do you drive on a parkway and park on a driveway type thing?
Well, that's a silly question.
Did you come up with that? I feel like that's something you would have done.
Yeah, I probably did. Yeah.
That's a joke I've heard in a movie somewhere.
Yeah, and I came up with it first.
He was there. All right.
But watching the person I was watching play last night on
Yeah.
Twitch play Kingdom Hearts 3, I was like, I kind of want to play that.
You would be so confused.
I know.
Because
Like,
the game does not explain, like, it just goes in. It doesn't explain anything, so you would be confused.
Oh, I know.
Because it's a very
I was
confusing
confused
story.
That game goes in
watching-
dry.
Yeah.
I was confused watching them play last night. I was just like, it looks so cool, but I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, it's like super, like the dialogue and everything. It's just it's not great, but it is great just because of it brings back such like memories of me playing this, like the earlier versions as a kid, except now I'm an adult and I'm like, it's an interesting play for like, for sure. Like it's interesting just playing it, and viewing it as an adult now. It's interesting.
When was the last time you played like
The actual game? Well, they
Kingdom
did, like
Hearts,
Amy
I
said,
guess?
that they released a collection of like everything up until 3, like to get people excited for
Everything
3.
except for like the Game Boy games or something.
No, they had the Game Boy game in there.
Uh-huh. They released it like in a modern way that you can play it.
Yeah, so you can play it on your PS4 or whatever. And
Well, not my PS4. I don't have one.
exactly.
So fans who had PlayStations could play it.
So I played a little bit of the first one. I was gonna beat it, and then I just never did. I never, I played other things. But
I like to play around.
sure, why not? Let's put it that way. So it had been a while, but like those are like old games for like an old system, so they're just like ported over,
Sure.
This is like a brand new game that was in development for like a good like 6 to 7 years.
Wow.
Of game development. Game development's, I mean, games, they take a while to develop, but this was like in development for like a really long time.
For the third one? Or for
Yeah,
that
for
pack?
for the third one.
Okay.
The one that just released.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of fun. It's been taking me back. I've only played it for like a couple of hours last night.
Yeah.
And so I'm really, wanting to wrap this up kind of quick.
Yeah.
So
How
I
does
can go back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, like,
Yeah.
how does it compare to the old one? Like, playing it, is it so close to the original that it's sort of getting that fix of the feeling you used to have when you played it, or is it kind of like a rebooted, like, this is what I want this is the same game that I love, but what I want in a game now?
No, it's very much. It feels like the older games, but like it's bigger. Like everything is just bigger.
Right.
The worlds are bigger. Your attacks, your basically the whole combat system is bigger, and there's like different forms of it. And like you guys would probably actually really like this, because one of the moves that these like new combat systems that they introduced in this game, it's called attractions, and they're basically like Disney theme park rides that like you summon to like fight enemies.
Amy and I just made significant eye contact.
So like one of them is like, for one of this like a boss, like an early boss battle, you're like kind of like on this like train, and it's like the train at Disneyland or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
I think they were
Grand
playing.
Rap,
They were,
whatever the hell that train ride is.
The Big Thunder?
There you go, that one.
Yeah.
They were fighting like what I was watching last night.
Yeah,
I think they were
it's a
fighting the
Hercules.
Titans.
Titans.
with
Yeah.
the-
Yeah, I just finished that. That's like the intro to like the game. And then there's also like the teapots, like the
The spinning
the
teapots.
spinning teapots is another attack, and like a pirate ship that like goes back and
Oh,
forth.
that's pretty cool.
Sounds so cool.
And there's like more. Obviously, I haven't really. Oh, and they have like the cars, like the Buzz Lightyear cars with
Yeah.
the little shooting thing.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and
Astro Blasters.
and it becomes like a little shooter
Oh,
where you
that
like
sounds
shoot the
so fun.
people, the Heartless or whatever. So yeah, it's got a lot more stuff to it, and it definitely feels like, those other games were made for the PlayStation 2, which is like, we're on PlayStation 4 now.
Right.
And so it was made a while ago. So this feels like a game for the new system. It feels old and new at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, this kind of goes along with the question that Joe had asked, but for like, as we ask with all of this nostalgic stuff with the podcast, does it hold, like it still holds up?
See, that's the point. That's the part where like, and this is the thing about like Kingdom Hearts in general. It's Disney and it's Final Fantasy, and it's always been a weird mix.
Yeah.
And it's it's not super approachable.
Yeah.
And it's not, like I'm saying, like the story is all over the place. The dialogue isn't great. So there's, you know, in terms of like holding up, like it's not great, but it's great to me because I have those memories. Like, I don't know, like if you guys, because you guys are big Disney fans, and I think this goes a lot with, one of the reasons obviously why it's so popular is because it's Disney.
Right.
I think even people that don't really like play video games, like you two might like it. You guys won't understand what the hell's going on, but just playing as the characters would be fun, and like going to like different worlds. Like in this one, this is the first one that they've introduced Pixar Worlds. So you go
I saw that. I saw that.
You
poster.
go to like Toy Story,
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Is there Incredibles?
I don't know. There's it's not Pixar, but it's Big Hero 6.
Oh,
you do that. So then there's like Frozen and like Tangled, I believe, as well. So there's like Disney like stuff, and it's cool, and it's fun for me because I'm like, it brings back so much of that just feeling of nostalgia feeling of just like playing. But like, if I don't know, my roommate tried to get into it with the earlier series, like when the collection came out, he tried to play some of it, and he's like, this is garbage, like I can't play this. And I'm like, I don't think if you didn't play them growing up, you probably aren't a fan.
Is he a Disney fan?
No.
Okay.
Not particularly. I mean, he's not like an anti-Disney person, but
well, I remember seeing like posters for it. I guess it was Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2006, like you said. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's a video game. Is that Mickey?
It's got like Mickey, and he's like in a bunch of zippers, and he's got like they're all dressed like weird.
They look like those goth kids in high school.
Yeah, it's definitely the Hot Topic crowd for sure.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm unashamed.
Well, that's why we tolerate you.
Exactly.
All right, Amy, you've got some stuff.
Yes. I have another and stuff, and this I think is going to bring up some interesting conversation because, like with the last podcast, I was listening to another podcast, and this kind of brought something to my attention that I didn't realize was a thing. Can you guys explain to me what Cactus Cooler is?
Oh yeah, it's a soda.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like orange soda, but not.
It's orange and pineapple is what it is.
Okay, because they were talking about this. It's like a couple, and the guy grew up in Southern California.
What podcast is this?
The Jenna Julian podcast.
Okay.
And the girl, Jenna, grew up
Do they just talk about soda?
New Jersey. No, they just talk about whatever the hell they want to talk about.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
Focused.
Yeah. But
just like this podcast.
Exactly. Tight. But they started talking about something, and he mentions the fact that she doesn't know what Cactus Cooler, or she never knew what Cactus Cooler was.
Because it's mostly like a Southwest.
Yeah, so he looked it up, and it's a
regional drink.
It's a Southern California. So I want to
like
talk
we
about
don't have Jolt Cola here.
Yeah, other regional snacks. It's like I looked up some regional snacks from the Midwest and like around Indiana where I grew up that you guys probably don't know about, and I don't know if you guys have any other nostalgic snacks that I probably wouldn't know about.
Hit us with your weird Midwestern snacks.
And you guys know
I bet you they're all gross. I bet you they're all some color of white.
They're all some sort of corn-based snacks.
No, they're all some sort of potato.
Ah.
They're actually this goes very well
into
into
on the color.
My character.
Yeah.
Your potato character.
My potato character. There are potato chips. They're all like mostly potato chip based.
Okay.
Like Mike sells potato chips.
Who's Mike?
Mike sells.
Mike sells.
It's like Mike dash sells.
Like he's a cell.
Like
she
sells seashells by the seashore.
It's MIKE-SELL''S. Mike sells.
Like Michael sells.
Potato chips. And those are like they're from Ohio, but they're potato chips that we ate a lot growing up. As well as Grippo's chips, which were my grandpa's favorite chips, and I absolutely love them. They're these like really tangy barbecue chips. They're so good.
Huh.
But like you can only we don't get them in like Indianapolis, like in like central or northern Indiana, but you only get them in like southern Indiana.
Huh.
It's from like kind of the southern part of
Indiana,
of the Midwest. But then there's one, I think we talked about this a while ago, and you guys thought it was really weird.
What?
Cincinnati chili.
I'm afraid because I feel like that sounds like a
Cincinnati as like chips.
No. This is like an actual food.
Oh.
Yeah, Cincinnati. That just sounds like
Isn't
what do you
that
call
just
it?
Like, wait, isn't it like it's
a
like
euphemism? That sounds like a euphemism.
spaghetti with like chili,
on top.
Oh.
I've seen it. I've seen dine-ins and drives or whatever that's called.
Yeah, but have you tried
I'm just glad
it?
that like Cincinnati chili isn't like pooping on the toilet with the lid still down.
That's a Cleveland steamer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, Cincinnati chili is so good. Like it I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it's like spaghetti with chili and like cheese on top, right?
It better be really good chili.
But
though.
That does sound.
But they
that does-
also the thing
Sounds
that
like something I'd make when I'm like really stoned.
yeah, but the thing that makes it unique is it has in the like
Because
sauce.
it's not
like,
eaten by solely stoned people.
because
That is pretty.
weed isn't legalized in the Midwest yet, really. But
No, they're on Oxy.
in the
They're on meth.
meth.
A whole different level.
Sorry, Joe. Correction, it's meth.
Yeah, they don't
But
eat when they're on meth.
The chili,
Yes,
chili part,
yes.
the spices and stuff, it has cloves, cinnamon, allspice, and chocolate in with the
That's
chili
actually
part.
kind of gross.
The chili that
It's
I make.
good.
I don't know. I don't like. So like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, you got.
Well, it's because when you say chocolate, like it reminds me like of mole sauce.
Oh, yeah, you
yeah,
don't like
I don't
mole.
care for mole.
I
either.
really don't like mole sauce. So like when you say chocolate, although I would imagine that wouldn't be as chocolate.
Yeah, because it's like a hint of chocolate, and then it's got like here's a picture. You guys can't see it on the podcast.
Wait a minute.
And it's like smothered in cheese.
Yeah.
But you know what? That is absolutely upside down from what I would have assumed. Oh wait, no, that's the cheese.
That's cheese on top, and then chili, and then
Oh
spaghetti.
my god!
It's smothered in cheese. So you see.
Yeah,
why
it's just
I
like
like
that
it.
picture and post it on the
See why I
Instagram
like
account.
it. It's just all cheese.
So the chili that I make, the turkey chili that I make,
you and your turkey chili. This ain't turkey chili.
there's onion.
Turkey chili is the best, though.
There's onion, bell pepper, beef stock, black beans, tomato sauce, diced fire roasted tomatoes, and then there's like cumin, cayenne, chili powder, paprika, some other stuff, and then I do put in a tablespoon of cocoa powder. I don't put in the other stuff, but I do put in the cocoa powder. I've never
It's
made
like
it
the
without,
sweet
so I
and
don't know what
salty.
it does. Yeah, I guess so. I've never made it without, so I don't know what it does, but it's good.
I say
Yeah.
we have a chili cook-off.
But there's also another thing on this list that I found multiple lists, but there's another one that I feel like it says it's from the South, but we had it, so I think you guys might have had it too.
What?
Moon pies? Did you guys ever have
I know
moon pies?
I know
Yeah.
moon pies, but
We
I
had a
think they're
whole
called
discussion
whoopie
about it.
pies here.
I don't know.
It's like a graham cracker with marshmallow and then
Yeah,
another graham
yeah,
cracker and it's
yeah,
covered in
chocolate,
chocolate.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a whoopie pie.
I think so.
It's a moon-
Well, here, let me-
I've heard it as a moon pie.
Ow. Let me
One
look
of,
it up.
one of like a favorite Simpsons line is Jasper, old man at the assisted living home that Grandpa goes to.
Is that the fellow that's like, that's a bad one?
That's Jasper, all right. He's like at the store. He's at the Quick Mart or whatever, and he sees a moon pie, and he's like, a moon pie. What a time to be alive.
And there's another one, but I think we've talked about this multiple times
What?
because I've preached my love for it. It's not technically supposed to be called this, but the Chicago style popcorn,
Oh yeah,
the caramel and the
Cheese
caramel
or
and
something?
the
Yeah.
cheddar popcorn mixed.
Yeah, that's good. That's good
I
stuff.
love it. It's so good. It's
It
like
is
my
pretty
second
good.
favorite type of popcorn.
What's your third favorite type of popcorn?
Just cheddar popcorn by itself.
What's your first favorite type of popcorn?
What about kettle corn?
Yeah. What about it?
Kettle corn's like fourth. I like the popcorn you get at the movie theater.
What's the fifth favorite type of popcorn?
No, I want to know
Caramel
the
corn.
seventh. What's the seventh?
Caramel corn. Isn't that the same as kettle corn?
No, kettle corn's made with more sugar, and caramel is made with a caramelized. It's covered in like caramel and then hardened. And kettle corn is just
no.
like sweet popcorn. It's like popped with like sugar and some other stuff.
What's your first favorite?
Oh, you know what?
I told you, movie theater popcorn.
I was totally wrong about the whoopie pie thing.
I think that's something different.
Yeah,
I
so
think that's
'cause
something sexual.
It's
and
it's
oh,
made
let's
of
talk about it.
It's a snack.
two mound-shaped pieces
Sure
of
is,
chocolate.
Andy.
Sometimes it's a
Sure
meal.
is.
It's two round mound-shaped pieces of chocolate cake, or sometimes pumpkin or gingerbread cake with a sweet, creamy filling or frosting sandwiched between them.
Oh
Definitely
yeah.
sounds sexual.
Definally does. Yeah, I should have read that in a sexier voice.
Should have. Too late now.
I think
That's way
there's
too late
there's
now.
another I think there's like something else that oh no, that's the same thing. But we get like the oatmeal pies. Like that. We never got them with like the chocolate cake, it's always the oatmeal cakes. Or they're oatmeal cookies, but they're softer, like really soft. I never liked them because they tasted funny to me, but yeah, so that's my talking trailers
And stuff.
Riveting.
and stuff. Yeah. I just it confused me because they were talking about cactus cooler. I'm like,
Have you never had cactus cooler?
no, it sounds so good that
It's good.
like
You,
you say it's,
you would
it's
definitely
pineapple.
like it. It's like orange and pine. It's like it's a strange drink for sure. It was never like my favorite.
Well,
but
I love pineapple.
It is. Yeah, I could definitely see you liking it, for sure.
Well, is it kind of like an orange and pineapple version of Sprite?
No, it's kind of like just it's I don't know. It's a fruitier version of like orange soda. Because it's orange. I mean,
Yeah.
the color of the drink is orange.
Yeah, and it is more orange soda. Like if on the like in the spectrum of sodas, I would say it has the most in common with orange soda.
Okay, so we talked about all of this talking trailers and stuff. So
Now I want like a snack.
I know we've been talking about food and just.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Why'd you do this to us, Amy?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Amy.
Let's just get through this so we can watch the movie and get
Go
a
play
snack.
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so Johnny,
Yes.
do you want to introduce this, or do you want me to, since you don't have your notes in front of you?
I want you to do the talking because you're the head honcho.
Okay.
No, I'll do the talking. It is The Mummy, as we mentioned before.
Yes.
1999, starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz.
Written and directed by the same man who brought you not only G.I. Joe, the movie, and Van Helsing, the movie, but also, what was that one we saw?
I was
yeah,
trying to
Jungle
think-
Book.
The movie?
Yeah,
The live action
the live
Jungle
Jungle
Book.
live action Jungle Book from 1994. Stephen Sommers. He also did Deep Rising with Treat Williams.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
Do you want to try to give us a synopsis off the top of your head? Or do you want me to go off this one that has one of the words spelled wrong that I pulled from IMDb?
Let's do the IMDb with the spelling error.
Wait. First, you tried it. You because has it been a while since you've seen the film?
It has.
Try to give us one of your best recollection, and then we'll hear the bad spelling.
All right, it's basically Indiana Jones resurrects a mummy, and then they have to kill the mummy.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
An archaeologist at an archaeologist dig in the city of Hymenoptera, and did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
An
I
American,
don't know.
an American serving in the French Foreign Legion accidentally awakens a mummy who begins to wreak havoc. It's supposed to be wreak havoc,
yeah.
but they spelled it as wreck.
Yeah.
Hey.
As he searches for the reincarnation of his long lost love.
That's how you do. When you're looking for her.
When you're looking for love, you know,
In all the
sometimes,
wrong places.
sometimes you gotta raise the dead.
So you two have both seen this.
Yes, I saw it in theaters.
I have not seen this.
Really?
No.
You had never seen this movie?
No.
Huh.
The only, literally the only thing I know about this is from the ride at Universal.
What?
And I don't remember anything about the trailers for this except for the one, I think it's for the second one, where The Rock turns into a scorpion.
Yeah, the really bad CGI.
Famously bad
Yeah.
CGI. Wait, so you'd never seen it, you had heard of it though, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't
Because-
like you got on the ride at Universal for the first time and you're
No.
like, what is this?
No.
Okay.
I think I kind of vaguely remember a trailer, but it seemed...
Were you not allowed to watch it because it wasn't Disney?
It was
Right, but it
1999,
also
so you were like
seemed
2 years old.
so scary to me because
Scary.
this movie came out
When you were a wee baby?
1999.
I
The
pulled
day you were
I
born?
pulled the date from IMDb. It's May 7th, 1999, which is
Yeah.
the day before my 9th birthday.
Ah, it was close.
Oh yeah.
So even like at 8 years old and 360
Pounds.
So
I thought you were going for it.
So it almost. I was trying to count the days in my head somehow.
I just imagined you as a really fat baby getting scared of this movie.
So at almost 9 years old,
Yes.
and
this-
360 pounds, which is pretty bad. That's pretty shocking.
this movie terrified me. Whatever I remembered of it, I just remember being terrified because I did watch the trailer before we came in to talk about this. I was like, yeah, this is. I remember being scared of this.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
I do remember watching it a lot. I don't think I saw it in theaters. It was one of those ones that we had on VHS.
Yeah.
Because you were also about 9.
Yes, the math checks out. I do remember it being I remember being scared, but the thing is, I also remember being funny, because we would watch it just constantly, me and my cousins, and we would just quote the movie and laugh because I recall it being a funny movie.
Yeah.
Having bits, it's just scary enough as for kids to be a little afraid of it, but it's also not scary at all. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just remember it being having moments where I was just genuinely scared, and then other moments where I was just laughing, and me and my cousins were joking about it. So
I think I have seen a CinemaSins episode talking about this, but it's that doesn't give you the full story. It just points out stupid shit that's in the movie.
yeah,
Right.
So-
Yeah. I saw it in theaters.
You saw it in
I
theaters?
was 14 years old.
yeah. This seems like a good movie for a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
It totally was.
see it in
And I
theaters.
remember I saw it with my friends, and our moms dropped us off at the movie theaters.
Yeah.
you know?
As it happens when you're 14.
Yeah, that's what you used to do.
And I remember really enjoying it. I remember it being a lot of fun. However, on subsequent viewings, I do recall this also. like it's you see a movie in a theater full of people with your friends and it's really fun, and then the second time you see it you're like,
it's like not as
and I had it on VHS. I would watch it periodically and I enjoyed it, but I do remember always wishing that I thought it was like wishing that I liked it better than I did, or
wish
wishing
this
it was
a better
film.
movie.
So I remember that.
Okay.
And which is why I don't own it on DVD now.
When's the last time you watched this? Like years ago still?
So we were actually... Did I have that on DVD? I wonder if I have it on DVD.
It is on Netflix.
Right.
So maybe did you watch it on there?
Well, because I'm
when it came on Netflix, I remember I saw a lot of people like tweeting about it.
Oh, really?
Posting about it. Like, oh, The Mummy is on Netflix.
It's a movie that I think is remembered.
Yeah, it's
fondly.
remembered fondly for sure.
So I think all the mummies, all the like Brendan Fraser mummies are on Netflix.
Probably.
Because so we were talking about this earlier today. 1999, 2000 is probably when I got my very first DVD player, and so it's actually possible / likely that was an early DVD that I purchased. In which case, I might still have it.
What was your first? Do you remember your first DVD purchase? Because I remember mine.
I remember mine.
I do.
What was yours?
Okay, so I bought like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I got
I bought 2.
I got Deep Blue Sea.
Okay.
With Samuel Jackson.
That's
and
what
Saffron
got us
Burrows.
on the conversation.
Yeah, that's what got us on.
DVD player.
So I got that.
Yeah.
I got Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. Now available on Blu-ray from Shout Factory.
Oh,
Plug.
no way.
And then
Not a sponsor.
I interviewed somebody for the bonus features. Just saying.
Okay, coming full circle.
Yeah. And then Stargate, the original with Kurt Russell and James Spader, and Spies Like Us, also Dan Aykroyd and
You love
Chevy Chase.
Dan Aykroyd.
I do. He is a fan of. He's a
fan of yours?
He's a fan of mine. It's like some people believe in Santa Claus. Santa Claus believes in me.
Fair.
Okay.
So those were the first
Okay.
DVDs that I got.
Okay. Amy, what were yours?
Okay, well, I don't think I actually bought it, but the first DVD.
One that
the
you
first
bought.
DVD. I don't
No,
remember
no,
the
no.
first DVD that I bought, but I remember the first DVD I ever got.
Okay.
Because my grandma got us the DVD for Shrek before we ever had a DVD player. We had Shrek on VHS, and for Christmas she got me and my sisters the DVD, and we're like, we don't have a DVD player because they were kind of expensive at the time.
They were super expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I had to save a long time to get
So
one.
I think my mom got them on a discount through work.
Oh, nice.
So we ended up getting one a couple months later. But the Shrek was the first DVD I remember.
Yeah.
Shrek. Nice.
Johnny, what were your 2? You said you were
I did
2.
buy 2. I remember it happened like randomly. It was like much later after DVD players had gone down in
Yeah,
price.
because they were really
they were.
the movies were
They were
expensive too.
so
Yeah,
expensive.
exactly. I don't remember how much they were, but they got lowered down, and my mom was like, "Yeah, let's buy one," and I was like, "Oh yeah." The first 2 DVDs that I got when I got my DVD player, Dude, Where's My Car?
Of course you did.
And Austin Powers 3 Gold Member.
Of course
Boom.
you did.
Oh, man.
Those track.
Yeah, right. God, those are both terrible movies. But yeah, those are my first 2 DVDs.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Good stuff.
Wow.
And that definitely tracks
It
for
explains
you.
a lot about me.
So do we wanna go watch this movie now?
Yeah, let's go watch this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, let's make some popcorn.
And now, our feature presentation.
Okay, we've watched the movie.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
You
Well, no,
didn't.
you
It's a lie. It's all a lie.
Okay.
Anyways,
Mummy. We've seen.
The Mummy.
seen
You had
The
really
Mummy.
not seen this
Oh, Mummy.
before.
No.
That still surprises me. I don't know
Well, I
why.
have seen it now.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know.
Are you
It's-
my mummy?
It just
No,
seems like
not that mummy.
it seems, especially because you are such a fan of like this era.
Yeah.
Like
I-
it's such a like
And Indiana Jones.
and Brendan
Yeah.
Fraser.
Yeah. Well,
Well, that's not gonna do.
like I literally have a note in here. Peak Brendan Fraser in both looks and acting.
I don't know. George of the Jungle.
George of
He's-
the Jungle.
George of the Jungle was
already-
in 1997. George of the Jungle actually was one of the reasons why he got this movie.
Yeah, I know.
What
but
about-
he's like
And by the way,
very much so ripped
we'll
in
get to
that
this
film.
in a minute.
Bedazzled.
Encino Man is actually the movie that got him.
Encino Man, that's a good one.
Brendan Fraser was cast due to the success of George of the Jungle and then Prince 1997.
Yeah.
But I do have a list of Rick O'Connell recasts that we will get to later on that I'm real excited about.
Ooh.
But
Okay,
yeah.
well, Amy,
This makes me like the ride so much better.
yeah,
Really?
Like, I already loved the Mummy ride,
Uh-huh.
but I love the Mummy ride now, and I can't wait to go back on it.
That's so interesting because even when we went on the Mummy ride, I thought you had watched the movie.
No.
That's
I
so
told you
weird.
then I never
Maybe,
watched it.
yeah. I have a bad memory.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed myself. Like, I would probably watch this again if I was in the mood for an action-y adventure movie, but I didn't want the greatness of Indiana Jones.
yeah,
It's definitely a fun movie. I forgot how silly it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's very silly.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because you were talking earlier about how you were very scared of it.
Yeah.
You know? And I do remember, like I said, I was telling you guys, like, I remembered it being scary at parts because it does.
yeah.
It
It's
doesn't
got
have
some like jump scares.
yeah, some
quote
like
unquote.
jumps, yeah, quote unquote. But it is extremely silly. Like I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh shit, like this is way sillier
I
than
think
remember.
It's a lot of slapstick like comedy,
Yeah,
like Looney
like-
Tunes stuff. Like
yeah.
when she's on the ladder and it like
yeah.
wobbles and then it
And the
falls
whole-
and
Oh,
everything's
yeah.
like dominoes. You know, like that's
Yeah.
just.
I
you
think
know, it's,
I think the thing that really creeped me out was when Imhotep is kissing Evelyn and his like face kind of
disintegrates.
I think that was in the trailer, and that I think was what
That
really
really
freaked
bad
me out.
CGI.
Yeah, I think that really freaked me out, and
Sure.
just like seeing the big dust storm with his face in it.
Yeah. That
as a
was so
kid,
cool.
that scared me as a kid.
Well, that was like the key art too.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
on
it
the
was,
cover it was
yeah.
just this big face in the sand.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
think I
that was
remember
cool.
seeing it at like Blockbuster or something, and be like, that's kind of scary. Let's go like get an
and
animated
you
movie.
shit your pants
In the middle
and
of
you
the
were, yeah,
Blockbuster.
and you were like, "Mom, we gotta get out of here. Let's
It
get
was
Dumbo
like-
and
It
go."
was like, God damn it, you are 10 years old.
But yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was fun.
It's definitely a fun one. What did you think, Joe? Second time around?
You
Or
know
that
what?
one, this time around.
Yeah, more recent time around. I was once again it's like, yeah, there are bits that I like about this.
Yeah.
But overall it's kind of weak. Like it's just missing that last bit because it is kind of silly. Stephen
Yeah.
Sommers from if you caught the
From what we've
the
gathered,
trend of the
yes.
other movies that I mentioned he'd done.
Yeah.
He's written and directed.
Yes.
He's kind of like he's basically a 12-year-old boy who's been given the reins to a number of big feature films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't get really any further than this is kind of fun. Let's make a funny joke now. You know, he just doesn't have any sort of complexity to his filmmaking.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of drags the movie down because, like, I was thinking how much more I would have enjoyed this film if it was a little simpler. You know, if it was pared back a little bit instead of like world-ending devastation kind of stuff. If it was, you know, do the plague thing, but have the plagues happen because the mummy's out. You know, like
Yeah.
it's just like a natural order thing, and really have it just be because I think where the movie succeeds is Imhotep shows up and starts picking people off one by one.
Yeah.
And that's where the movie's really at its strongest.
Yeah.
And I wish the movie sort of dwelt more on that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
instead
And like
of,
that was the
having it-
whole point of the movie
Yeah.
was dealing with that stuff and have him picking off people that we like, you know, because he kills those three Americans and Van Pelt, you know, who's clutching the book,
Yeah.
and we don't like those guys anyway to begin with,
Yeah.
you know, and
But I mean, that would make it, I guess, more serious and like kind of more scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally, it totally would.
Which, I mean, when I was watching it, actually, it made me think a lot of just the original Universal monsters.
Yeah,
You know?
Yes.
yeah.
Kind of, because, I mean, those movies, they're not, at least to my recollection, they're not like scary.
They're
you know?
they're more like classic old school horror of they are eerie and they are sort of beautifully done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and so it kind of just, it reminded me like it was, I don't know, it was simple in my mind.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, and it didn't need to be anything more than that. It was silly. I don't know. It was.
No, it totally is. I mean, and there's like there's like two kinds of silly that this movie is.
Yeah.
There's the bit with, like I was saying, with the library where she knocks down all of the stacks for the
Yeah.
bookcases, and well, actually, really. Mostly everything with Rachel Weisz, like she is the comic relief in a lot of ways in the film. And then you
That
have
and her brother.
Yeah, and her brother. And then you have, and maybe that's the problem too. Is there's too many comic
Too much
relief
comic
characters.
relief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean,
Because then
Brendan
also
Fraser-
Benny is
Yeah,
also
Benny was
comic
like
relief.
I have a
That's
note. Benny
true.
was my favorite character just
And-
because of the comedic
Well,
Yeah.
element.
and he's so slimy, and he's such an interesting character. Like he's funny,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also still an interesting character. Like
Yeah.
the comedy comes from him being a scuzzbucket. You know?
Yeah, like I likened him in my note to Iago from Aladdin.
That's good. That's a good
But
comparison.
this is a note on. I was kind of half listening to Joe, but because I remember reading this, but I didn't copy it down. Was when you said it reminded you a little bit of the original Universal monsters.
Yeah.
There's a note on here. It says Stephen Sommers has said that The Mummy from 1932 was one of the movies that scared him as a kid. He was only 8 when he saw it and wanted to recreate the things he liked about it on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense why you got that Universal monsters vibe.
Yeah, because it is kind of like a sweeping sort of epic.
Yeah,
old
it feels.
school style.
It does feel. I mean, obviously, it's set in 1920s.
Yeah.
But like, it does feel like old school movie making.
Yeah.
You know
what I'm
Where
saying?
it's like it's really like you cannot watch it on your phone because there's these big shots,
Yeah.
big wide. You know, it's
Yeah.
not. Movie making now has really is tailored more towards smaller screens, and I mean, computers and phones and things like
Yeah.
that. A lot of close-ups, a lot of really shallow depth of field, and which you see in like Indiana Jones and even The Mummy. And Star Wars and Jaws is movies that have much longer shots, much deeper focus.
Yeah.
More
It's just
complicated
it's like
shots.
a huge grand set piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't remind me of just like it being like shot on like a backlot, with really intricate detailing.
like Jaws. Like the town is its own character because it's like this huge set piece.
Right. And so it does have that old feel to it, which is nice.
Yeah, which I really liked it. Like rewatching it, I was like, oh, it reminds me of this. Like it makes me like the movie more. Like on top of its action pieces and its silliness and its comic relief. Like,
Well, and that's what I was saying is like it's got the two kinds of silly in it. It has the set piece silly, but then it has the story driven silly. And this story driven silly is what I think works really well. Like when O'Connell runs in to grab Evelyn and she's backed up against the wall, having seen Imhotep just marching towards her, and then he goes "Rah," and he's like and he blows him away, and then he runs away, and it's like that's really good, that's really funny, and or like even the bit with the cat, where he was like hey, and he shows him the cat, and then he's like "Rah," and he spins away, that stuff is funny, silly, but it's story driven, and I think the silly set piece parts are the things that drag the movie down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I kind of like the silly set pieces. Like, there's one bit where I just noticed, and it was just funny because he's, O'Connell's fighting the mummies, towards the end, he's the group of mummies, and all of that fight is just kind of like Three Stooges, silliness. You know? Like, there's the bit where he chops off the guy's leg, and the tomb thing falls on him. It even has the sound effects of
there are so many Wilhelm screams in this movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I tried to keep tally and then I lost count because I fell asleep because I was watching it at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what my tally was when I woke back up.
Yeah.
But we were talking a little bit about the tone of this and with Stephen Sommers, but there were and this is getting into the recastings a little bit earlier than we usually do. But there were a couple different directors set to do this movie before Stephen Sommers.
Oh, who?
Clive Barker.
Really?
Joe Dante. And even the great George A. Romero.
Really?
And
they
I
were
have
really
a little
leaning
bit
into horror.
Yeah. And Wes Craven was even offered the position of directing.
Wow.
For Clive Barker, the film was intended to be a low-budget horror film. His vision for the film was violent, with the story revolving around the head of a contemporary art museum who turns out to be a cultist reanimating mummies. And then with Romero, it was going to be more of a zombie-style horror, similar to Night of the Living Dead.
Which it does have that element in it when everybody's got the boils, and they're like, Imhotep, Imhotep. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, it
would have been so different. Yeah. And there was a note in here somewhere for ILM when they were creating the mummy and stuff, they were told to not make it as gruesome. Yeah. Because of the scare factor. They wanted it to be a little bit more goofy.
Right.
And still it's pretty it's pretty I remember
it's gross.
Yeah.
Like I said, the his face, Imhotep's face coming off just grossed me out and scared me as a kid.
There's a bit, it's right before I think he's fully regenerated when he's wearing the turban and he turns around and he opens his mouth really wide and all the bees come out.
Yeah. And he's
but he's super pale. You can see through his cheek.
Yeah.
And he
just
really
looks gross.
That's kind of actually my favorite sort of sweet spot of where he gets to. And it's funny because he actually, especially when you can see through his mouth and his cheek is gone, it actually reminds me a little bit of Darkman. Arnold Vosloo would replace Liam Neeson as Darkman in Darkman 2 and 3.
Interesting.
And Darkman looks like that. He's got like most of his face is gone, but he kind of looks like that. And so I thought that was kind of funny.
Speaking of the face open thing, I think there's a part. It's like right before he like turns into sand and goes through the Evelyn's door.
Yeah.
He like there's like this cockroach crawling on his face.
Oh,
and his
the
tongue
scarab.
like goes
It's
through.
the scarab, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his like tongue goes through his cheek and like pulls it in without like leaving his mouth. And he's
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's real gross.
Yeah.
That's real gross.
Yeah, I did appreciate they kind of gave him like like Dracula's got all these different powers. He can turn into fog and bugs and a wolf and all that. And so the fact that there's like that scene where like the sand is pouring in through the keyhole.
That was really cool.
Like there's cool stuff. Like I really like that they sort of amped up his powers. It didn't make sense to me though how like as a punishment, because he's mummified as a punishment.
Yes,
it's like let's
why
give
are they giving him
ultimate
all the
power
power?
to somebody that we punished.
Why would you
know?
Why would you do that?
Well, which is also interesting because mummification was something that was so ancient Egypt, and I was a big fan of ancient Egypt, especially around this time because I fell in love with movies like Stargate, and so I was like, I need to learn more about ancient Egypt. So one of the interesting things about mummification was it tells us a couple things about ancient Egypt. One, that life was pretty good next to the Nile, and so people had the time to worry about what was going to happen to them after they died, which is why mummification became such a big thing. The better the mummification was that you could afford was kind of like a status symbol. So like you had like your bargain basement mummification for your commoners, and then you had really good mummification for the rich and the powerful. But it was something as a way to preserve. It was meant to preserve your body, which was connected to your soul in the afterlife, which is why like they would keep all of your internal organs because you were going to need those organs in the afterlife.
Boy, did they
and
get that
surrounded
wrong.
like you with riches and like all your worldly possessions, and you're like and like Imhotep's priests were mummified with him.
Right. But what's funny is if you like according to like Egyptian beliefs, if you really, really wanted to punish somebody, you would leave their body out to rot.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like you could have just killed them. You could have just burned them, and that would have been that.
Yeah.
But they had to be all extra and like put all those like curses and shit on them. And they were like, well,
basically,
we've never done this curse before because they say like
it's never been done before.
Never been done before. Well, we'll see how it goes.
It's like let's bury this time bomb.
Yeah.
It'll wake up at some point and wreak havoc.
But like, he was like obviously he was supposed to be like punished. He was like whatever. Sleeping with the Pharaoh's mistress,
Yeah.
And
that body paint anti-theft deterrent was a pretty good idea.
It was pretty genius.
Well, her like whole like there's another thing on here is with the exception of a loincloth and a few pieces of jewelry, Patricia Velasquez's costume consisted entirely of body paint, which took 4 hours to apply for those 3 minutes that she's on screen.
Do you know what's funny though? Is I remember seeing it in the movie theater and as a 14-year-old,
and being like,
I was like, oh no!
Yeah,
I
same.
remember seeing it as a 14-year-old and not fully understanding what I was seeing in terms of like costuming.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was like a sheer, because she's got like that black sort of
those,
sheer,
like,
sort of
fishnet,
sort of fishnet pattern. Yeah. And it wasn't until watching it now, and I was like, holy shit, she's just got like little coverings on, and that's it. You know,
she's got like pasties on.
Yeah, and so like that was actually like that was my first time actually noticing that it was completely body paint.
Well, there was like some. I started looking up the fun facts and stuff before I actually watched it. Like I looked them up, and so I was looking for that like in there. I was like, wow, they did that for 4 hours just for that little bit of time that she's on screen.
It is really striking though.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
And well, when I like. Because I hadn't seen this before, and like he like rubs his finger on her, I'm like, "You're messing it up. There's like an obvious streak there." And then like 30 minutes later, it's like, "Oh, I see what you did there." Because I was like, "Why? That's like such a bad mistake." Like, oh, the script supervisor must be freaking out right now.
Oh, Amy, you poor fool.
You know what else is funny? Something that did stand out to me that did not stand out to me when I was little was O'Connell's gun bag, which I remember thinking like that's pretty cool. Like he unrolls it, he's got all these different like cool revolvers and things. But there's a bit when they jump into the water, that fucking bag is floating. It's got so much iron and steel in it,
it
and
would
lead.
sink.
It would sink. There's no way you're jumping into the water with that thing.
Well, plus with like all the gunpowder and stuff, wouldn't it like just be a moot point? Like none of it would be usable.
Oh yeah, all that wet powder. I mean, we don't see him making the bullets is the thing.
Yeah, so it would be encapsulated and it wouldn't be like.
So it's probably okay. But he would need to certainly like service those weapons. I think because they're not meant. I mean, especially in 1920s, I don't think they're meant to be like going in the drink.
No. Not at all. And speaking of other risque costume choices for the females in this movie, during that scene where they're jumping off the boat, the nightgown that Evelyn is wearing when the ship is attacked becomes transparent when it got wet. And to keep the PG-13 rating, they had to digitally paint.
You know what?
Interesting.
14-year-old Joe absolutely noticed that one.
I didn't even notice it because I was like, oh, I should probably look for this and see if I notice it. And I just completely forgot about it by the time I got to the boat part.
Wait, you read the trivia before you saw the movie?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I pulled some fun facts just before.
If you wanted to have fun,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, once you watch the
Well,
movie.
there was a couple that was like,
before,
scrolling through.
Before I do this thing, I'm going to look at some fun facts to make sure that I enjoy it.
Amy, I think you're obsessed with fun facts.
I do love a good fun fact.
She does. She loves them facts. Just the facts, ma'am.
No, come full circle. God damn it.
Blue. Dragnet, available on Blu-ray from Shout Factory.
Hey.
Not a sponsor.
Not sponsored. You know, it's funny the whole. I'm curious for you too, because I was talking about how I thought the movies really works its best when it's
story-driven.
knocking people off one by one, picking them off. But you know, we spend a fair amount of time with his motivation, the reason why he's doing all this, trying to get Anouk Cinnamon back. You know, and I'm wondering, like, did that work for you?
No, because it didn't in some way. Only because we don't get much of their relationship before the. All we know is that
they were in love with each other.
They're
and
not
having
allowed
an
to touch her.
affair.
He touches her. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But also, so in the first part of the movie, she dies. She kills herself or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he tries to bring her back.
Right.
That's the whole thing, though. It's so that, like, I think she does that on purpose, so that
I know.
he
So
can bring her back. And they can,
But so that's fine. And then he gets like he's not supposed to do that, and then they catch him doing it, or they stop him doing it.
Yeah.
And then and they punish him or whatever. But when they do it again, why does he need Evelyn?
Because he needs a body to put Anouk Cinnamon back into.
No. Well, I think so. I kind of thought that, but then
Yeah.
based on how he was regenerating himself, I think that her mummified body was going to essentially eat her, like
so they
harvest
needed her
everything off of
soul.
her.
But why did it
that
have to be
stuff.
her? Why couldn't it just be
Anybody?
Anybody.
I think he
Right?
just liked her.
Yeah, he
but
took
she
a
was-
liking to her.
But she was also there, right? She was there.
I think she was, like, the first
she read
person
from
she
the
saw.
book.
She read from the book that
Sure.
brought him back.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's
why. But the other ones, because they had the jars with his.
the
Yeah.
Americans.
Yeah, the Americans had the
Right.
jar with
But
his
I
stuff.
think she was the first person that he saw, right?
Could have been. Yeah.
But I think it's
so.
just because she was like a beautiful lady. He's like, I must have you.
Right. I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
When I see a beautiful lady,
You gotta have her.
I'm like, well,
You're like,
I'm
I
gonna
gotta-
need you
I
to
gotta
resuscitate my
mummify.
dead girlfriend.
Yeah.
So you know how it goes.
It's a good pickup line, though. It has the benefit of not being like overused.
You know, it's
Yeah.
original.
I mean, it would result in a very harsh slap to the face, but
Not necessarily. You don't know what people are into.
Yeah, some people might be into mummification.
true.
And then you'd be like, "You want to be my mummy?"
Oh God, damn it, Joe! You ruin everything.
So, but also interestingly,
Yes.
Imhotep is a real person. Did you know this? Did any of your fun facts reveal this? He's like history's first recorded genius. He was the architect of the pyramids.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, I've like not like studied hardcore like you probably have, like Egyptian history and stuff, but
Maybe Imhotep was just a common name in Egypt, like
Let's
Joe.
see. Yes, everybody's like, "That's Imhotep. That's Imhotep."
I got 3 Imhoteps right over here.
Yeah, but yeah,
guess.
like Wikipedia says, interestingly, the name means the one who comes in peace, and it says
He didn't.
was an Egyptian chancellor to the pharaoh Djoser, Joser, probable architect of this steep pyramid, high priest of the sun god Ra at Heliopolis. Very little is known of Imhotep as a historical figure, but in the 3,000 years following his death, he was gradually glorified and deified.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it says he's referred to as a polymath, poet, judge, engineer, magician, scribe, astronomer, astrologer, and especially a physician.
Is that what you're trying to go for, Joe? Are those the titles that you want? Like,
Yeah, I've got like 4 of them down
got,
so far. So it's just kind of interesting that that's who they would pick. You know?
yeah.
So they could have made up some ancient sounding Egyptian name, but they went with somebody that was real.
Well, they brought on like an actual ancient Egyptian scholar
Oh, really?
to teach the people who needed to know know how to speak ancient Egyptian so they could get all of the inflections correctly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
I thought that was just like,
What I wondered,
Movie
speaking of
stuff.
that, is like when Benny, one of my favorite
Oh,
parts,
that-
when he
that's
takes
the
out
Jew
all
at
of
the
his.
start,
so
David?
good.
Well, because
Yes,
he's
I
like
was
first
gonna
the
mention
cat, like the
that.
cross, and then
Yeah.
like the Buddha, and
Yeah.
it's just, and then
He's just-
finally gets
And
to
he's
that.
like, the language of the slaves.
Yeah.
when he's supposed to
But
be
like I wonder,
Hebrew,
I had wondered if what's
of
his
that-
name, O'Connor,
O'Connell?
Kevin J. O'Connor
Yeah.
is
Oh,
the
okay.
actor who played
Yeah.
Benny, who has been in, as far as I know, of all the Stephen Sommers movies that I've seen, he's in all
he's
of
in
them.
most. He's in all.
He's like his friend
It's
or
his
something.
muse.
He's his muse.
Yeah.
But
Just
anyway,
like Leo's been in like 90% of Scorsese's most recent movies.
exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wondered if his pronunciations of all of the different like prayers
Oh,
that he was
well,
trying
if they
were
brought
accurate.
on like an Egyptian scholar to teach them how to speak ancient Egyptian, they probably taught him how to speak those prayers.
I don't know. I was watching it, and when it had like the subtitles on, you know.
Yeah.
And so when he's speaking one thing,
Oh,
and
it says gibberish.
It says speaking Arabic.
Yeah.
You know, and then he's speaking, but when he goes to like the Buddha one,
Buddha.
it says speaking gibberish. But
Yeah.
then
Oh no, that's Chinese.
Well, I
no,
think
it says-
he did like he maybe did like because it's
Yeah.
Benny. He's like a sleazy guy. He probably
Yeah.
was just speaking
definitely.
gibberish to
Yeah,
like
it totally fits his character.
yeah.
To
But
be,
I
like,
feel
you know.
like I don't know. You probably would have to ask Sarah if he was actually speaking Hebrew.
No, he was because it says speaking Hebrew.
Well, so it's
Yeah,
funny.
like what he's actually saying.
when I was watching it, and I remember that scene. There are a few scenes that were like classic scenes to me that I have not forgotten in the intervening years, and that scene is one of the ones that did stick with
Yeah.
me.
Definitely, it's a great bit. It's a great
And
scene.
for whatever reason, as I was watching it, I was expecting to hear like Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, something like that, and I don't know what happened, but I was not paying attention. like so then the thing was the scene was over, and I was like, shit,
Wait,
I
I
should
didn't
have been
pay
paying attention because I did catch it. Like when we talked about Goonies,
yeah.
and the bit when Chunk meets the Fratellis when he thinks he's
Yeah.
found somebody that'll help him, and he starts backing away and he starts praying in Hebrew, and so like I caught that then,
Yeah.
and I have no idea why I wasn't paying attention for this
That's
here,
hilarious.
Yeah.
But Benny's great. He is a fantastic sleazeball.
Sleazy character, just
And
like
he's
the ultimate sleazy character.
He's so much fun.
Yeah.
And he's funny. He's like,
yeah.
There's a lot of comic relief in this movie. Like everybody,
Yeah.
everyone's got like a good joke.
Like the scene at the beginning that I thought was really funny was Benny's like, "Oh, I'm right here with you," and they're like, the horses are charging.
And then he's like, nope.
"Yeah,"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't shut that door."
Yeah.
It's like no.
That's a good bit. Don't you shut that door. Don't you shut that door. So the CG in this film. 1999, it was kind of like the early days of the
1999
digital revolution, when people
My-
were like kind
yeah.
of waffling back and forth between using a lot of CG and not. I felt like it mostly held up, surprisingly. Like,
Yeah,
it was
there-
mostly okay.
There's some places where I was like, it's a little like very early 90s
Yeah.
CG.
The one
like
that-
when they reveal the temple when they're like when the sun rises and they reveal that and when it blows up at the end, I was like, that's a little
yeah.
iffy for me.
Also, the fact that the temple blows up because of like a switch, like one switch, like everything
Yeah.
kind of collapses.
Yeah.
I was like, that seems.
Well, didn't they say that it was supposed to like cave in on itself, like it was booby trapped? I feel like they mentioned that in the
They
film.
did say that, yeah, but it's just I don't know. I feel like way too much happened for it to just
Agreed.
switch.
Agreed. It is way too much, and that's Stephen Sommers for you. I mean, if you remember the movie Van Helsing, which
Yeah,
was
I
like,
vaguely remember it. But
it's like this movie on steroids because the digital revolution had come by this point, and he was like,
Yeah.
"We can do this with computers. Let's do it."
Yeah.
But there's things that they did in that movie that clearly nobody was just like paying attention to. There's like a scene where they start out and there's like two towers that are across from each other. And at first, because the story dictates that the tower has to be like above, like the room in the one tower has to be above the room in the other one, because some characters like swing from it. But then later, they're like different, and all of a sudden the one that was higher is now lower, and it's just.
Oh yeah, I have a note on here that the cheek thing on Emotep switches sides.
Oh really?
Like when he goes down to kiss Evelyn,
it's on
it
his
grows on this side.
right side,
But
yeah.
then when he comes back up and the rest of the movie, it's on the other side.
The left side,
yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that because I was like,
Continuity.
I was like watching it. I was like, that doesn't feel right. It's like when the camera crosses the 180-degree axis.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, was it Lisa Simpson's hair? It's
Oh.
like when she moves, you
Yeah,
never
it
see her
doesn't-
straight on.
Yeah.
That's always to the kind of the side.
Yeah.
Or Phineas and Ferb. I think there's like one picture that somebody put online of like one of them looking straight at the camera, and it's like,
And it's just like
"Ugh."
a dime.
yeah, it's really disconcerting. I got a question though.
Yes.
For both of you, did either of you
Yes.
two see the Tom Cruise Mummy film?
Yes.
No.
That was one of the first movies I saw when I moved out here.
Oh, really?
That and Baywatch and the newest Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Ugh, boy, it's some winners.
That gives you guys a timeline, the listeners, a timeline from when I moved out to LA.
Yeah. How did this? Because I haven't seen it.
I haven't
It's a
seen
piece
it
of
either.
shit.
Is it? How did it compare to this? Because it kind of looked like not the same movie, but it's like people getting harassed by mummy with powers.
Yeah.
A female mummy.
Yeah, female
Yeah,
mummy.
it's that, but it's honestly I've kind of blacked the whole thing out.
Yeah.
All I remember is Tom Cruise flipping a truck,
Uh-huh.
like a huge like mail truck thing.
Yeah, not a female
and-
truck.
No. And a plane crash.
Yeah.
Where
He
the
survives.
mummy. He's not in the plane crash.
Oh.
The mummy's in the she's in her sarcophagus.
Yeah.
They're transporting it, and it crashes in like a marsh or something in like somewhere in the UK, like Ireland maybe. Really weirdly off of where it should be because I think it was going to like London or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it was weird. But she's like in this swamp thing under this like bridge and taking all of these like rescue workers or police officers like souls to make her stronger, and they're like all turning into skeletons, and it's weird.
Huh.
The only thing I remember is that thing from the trailer where you see her like walking down the street and she just goes like sticks her arms out and all this dust flies out from like kind of like the way it did
Yeah.
in this mummy. But that's all I really remember.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And Tom Cruise dies, but it's not as funny as when he dies in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Spoilers.
Probably even less funny than how he dies in Live, Die, Repeat, which is
Oh,
perhaps one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies of
That
all
is
time.
a good movie.
But I just like the aftermath of his Mission Impossible
Yeah.
death.
Well, they're like, didn't you die? He's like, yeah, but I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, like I was watching that with my dad. I'm like, he just died. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, he's driving a car. But no, he dies and then he gets resuscitated, and it's.
Yeah.
I don't recommend anybody watching it. If you want to watch a mummy, watch the original Mummy, and then like,
and by original, you mean the Boris Karloff
the Boris
mummy?
Karloff Mummy.
And then watch
then
The
watch-
Mummy 2, The Scorpion King.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Classic rock.
And then watch this Mummy.
Wait, so you've seen the classic mummy then, too? The Boris Karloff mummy?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
So you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it fully all the way through.
I am ashamed to say that is a gap in my classic Universal Monsters movie viewership. 'Cause
Right.
I've seen Frankenstein, I've seen
I don't
Dracula,
think I've seen any of
I've seen The
them,
Wolfman.
I think I've really only seen Frankenstein. I own Wolfman. I just
Creature from the Black
Oh yeah,
Lagoon.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I
There's
can
like
actually
Bride of
look up-
Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein.
I just bought a couple.
Cousin of Frankenstein.
Yeah, third
No, it's done.
third uncle once removed on the mother's side
Nope.
of Frankenstein. The Universal a while ago released this box set of Blu-rays of
We
the
were
movies.
I
looking
really want
at
to get
that,
that.
yeah.
I really want to get that.
I've seen some of the movies like they're playing in the background of a Halloween party I went to some years ago. Mm-hmm. They did a beautiful job
They really
restoring
look-
those
they look
films. They
great.
look so good.
Okay, I
I've been
own
meaning to- Uh-huh.
Frankenstein, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
I got Phantom of the Opera, Nosferatu,
Yeah.
and The Wolfman.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's
you mean
the
the 1920s one, the
Yeah,
Murnau,
I mean, it's-
F.W. Murnau, because
That's
that's
German.
different.
That's way different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like listing all of the like old school horror movies that I just recently
Okay.
got.
Nope,
But
doesn't
yeah,
count.
Nosferatu's not on it. Phantom of the Opera, that's not the Lon Chaney one. That's not a Universal monster, is it?
I think it is. I don't know if it's necessarily part of the monsters, but I'm pretty sure that's Universal.
So I think that I only have Wolfman and Frankenstein.
Hmm.
But
Man, Bela Lugosi as Dracula is unsettling. That sort of piercing gaze he's got, and it's funny that Karloff would do two iconic mummies. I mean, two iconic monsters. You know, they'd
Yeah.
be both Frankenstein and Frankenstein's creature and the mummy.
No, he's Frankenstein.
Yeah, I think, yeah. You know, most people
Yeah.
remember him from that mostly.
Boy.
Johnny was making a joke, Joe. He was calling him Frankenstein, like actual
Instead of
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein's monster, because everybody feels the need to correct it. And it's like, fuck you. Everyone knows what you're talking about when you say Frankenstein. You don't got to be a dick. All right?
But I do. That's my job here.
Nah.
Mm.
Nah.
Well,
Question.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys seen Mummy 3, The Dragon Emperor.
You know
with
what?
Jet
I've
Li.
actually seen all 3 Mummy films.
Really?
I
I've
saw
actually-
them in theaters.
No way.
I did because of the first one. I remember it's like, hey, this was a fun movie.
Yeah.
And then the second one comes out and I was like, yeah, I'll see that. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I was like, oh fuck it, might as well. There's nothing else out.
And Rachel Weisz isn't in that one, right?
She's
not in the third one.
Is she not? I
I
feel
don't
like
think so.
Hold on.
I feel like she is.
Is she? I don't know.
Amy is furious.
There's somebody that's like a core character that's not in the third one, and I remember it.
Maybe she's not. I feel like she is though, and I remember a scene. I think in the third one where they're like literally racing daylight.
She's only in The Mummy and The Mummy Returns.
That's the
Oh
second
wow,
one.
that's the second one.
Yeah, where they're like racing against the
Wait,
daylight.
is Dragon Emperor? Does that
third
also
one-
have a scene where like mummies are attacking like a London double-decker bus?
That's the second one.
Then I've never seen the third one.
Yeah, the third one's got Jet Li in it.
I fucking lied to you. Then I've
Yeah.
not. I've not seen. I
It's a
didn't even know
Chinese
Jet Li
mummy.
was in it.
That's what I'm saying. Huh? It's like not an Egyptian mummy. It's just,
Is it any good?
I've never seen it,
We
but
seem to be
probably
an expert
no.
about it.
I was just asking if anybody had seen it, because there's three. This is a trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is 3 movies, and I've
Yeah.
only. I mean, I don't know. I saw the first 2. Wondering if anybody's seen the third.
Nope.
Nope.
So, doing some fun facts?
Yeah, let's have some fun facts
have
some
and
fun
alternate casting, right? Because there's.
Yeah, I'm going to do some fun facts because I pulled a lot of ones that I thought were really interesting.
Do any of them have to do with Eric Avari being both in this and Stargate?
No.
Oh, okay.
Only
well, he
you
was.
would know that. Brendan Fraser nearly died during the hanging scene.
Oh shit.
For
Yeah.
reals?
Yeah, you can kind of tell too.
Yeah.
He's like grabbing his the rope on his neck.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? They're just like, it's like, all right, guys, this is around my neck. Am I gonna be hanging by anything else, like my belt or something? Like, no, it'll be fine. All right, ready? Let's go.
Could you imagine if he actually died? That would have been great.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
That would have
it would
been,
have been like The Crow.
Yeah.
on film.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that was the last scene that they shot and not the
I know, right?
first.
Yeah. Always do your dangerous stunts after you got the talkie bits done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, fuck, we should have filmed this other stuff before. Boy, Universal's going to be real mad.
Yeah. And then, according to Stephen Summers, Universal called him phoned, because I think someone British wrote this fun fact, phoned him the morning after this movie was released and said, we need another one.
Wow.
Universal felt that strongly about how good this movie was.
Wow.
And I think you both will like this one. A cloak lent by the British costume rental company Angels and worn by an extra in the film was discovered to have in fact been made for Alec Guinness when he played Obi-Wan
Really?
in the first Star Wars movie.
No.
Wow. Can you imagine like you're the extra and
Yeah.
you look at like the name written on the inside and it's like A Guinness and you're like, what the
Wait a minute. It says Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
And the library disaster was done in one take.
It had to be.
Yeah, if it was reshot, it would have been an entire day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I can just see that camera operator too, like walking around like
Yeah.
with the camera, like walking around the tripod just being like, all right, here we go.
So when the ride opened, the lines were so long that people marched doing like the emo type chant in the sun, like waiting for in both, like because the lines stretch all the way to the entrance to the park.
Oh my god.
Which
damn.
I don't know
know
how
what?
they would do it here because like it's on the lower lot, but in Universal Studios in Florida, that's a long ass line.
Do they have the
Because
Mummy ride in Florida?
Yes, the Mummy is in the very back of the Universal Orlando Park, not in the Islands of Adventure Park. So it would have been a really long line because it goes from like very back all the way. It would have gone. All the way
Yeah,
to the
but
front.
it would have been if it went to the entrance here. That's up
That
that,
doesn't
Yeah,
make any
hill.
sense.
no,
and
I don't
everything,
think they
too.
would have. Like that's what I said. I don't think it would have been. That's not correct for here in LA for the Universal Hollywood because it's on the lower lot. But in Florida, it would have worked.
You know what?
They probably will through back
That
lots.
ride is fun. Ain't worth a
Oh
line
no,
that
like
long.
I love that.
Well, it's super short. It's a
yeah,
short-
I love
it's
that
very short.
ride.
But it's so fun.
It is super fun, but it's
I don't think I've ever waited for that ride more than like 45 minutes.
so that ride's been there for a really long time.
2004.
So it's been there for 14 years.
Yeah.
Wow,
Almost as long as you've been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3.
it's true.
I mean, because I remember when we went, it was my first time going on it, and I was kind of underwhelmed by the exterior theming because it's just this like nondescript building, and then once you're inside, it's cool. But like the exterior, I remember thinking like, you couldn't have jazzed this up a little bit, made it look like a tiny pyramid or
they
something.
They spent so much money on the inside.
Did they though? Because there's just like that opening section where the mummies drop like out of the ceiling, and that's super cool. And there's like hands, I think, too. Yeah. But then otherwise, you're just in a dark room with some like spray painted glow in the dark mummies. It's like, it's a very kind of, a person once described it to me as low effort.
Yeah. Well, I think, and it goes so fast when we wrote it that I cried.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I had my eyes open, and I just like felt, as soon as we took off, I just felt tears just going straight back.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I did not, I remember that I had never been on the ride. I'd never been on it. It had never been described to me. So there's that bit where like we stop and I'm like, what the hell? And then we go backwards. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Well, I think we told you that. I was like, I think both of us said it's kind of like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not, because Indiana Jones isn't really a roller coaster like that one.
Yeah, no, it's like the way, Indiana Jones, like, quote, goes back, where it's because Sarah gave us that.
Well, I know, but the Mummy ride actually runs backwards. Yeah. Which is fun, but I was not ready for that at all.
Yeah. And then I have two more before going on to the recastings.
Okay.
The Plastic Dummies, this is kind of a Shout Factory throw out. The plastic dummies used as desiccated corpses in the film represent the mummy's victims are the same as those used in the cult 1980s sci-fi film Life Force, put out on Steelbook by Shout Factory last year.
Boom.
Hey.
One character even refers to the mummy sucking the life force out of people.
Huh.
And then the other one...
Speaking of that, that is one of the things that I think they do really well in this movie. When the first person he comes, like he harvests, and he only partially gets his eyes and his tongue, and the guy's like he doesn't have his glasses and he's wandering around and the mummy finds him and then he doesn't have his eyes, and it's actually, that's the one guy that you feel bad for. You know, because like he tries to, like, he knocks something over and he's just like so pathetically sad about it, you know. I did like that. That was like that's a good scene.
And then the last one is the sacrificial slab where they're resurrecting
Anaxunamun.
Yeah. They took 9 days to film that small little bit where they are chained to the slabs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not the fighting stuff. Just I don't. It doesn't specify, but it just says the scene where they're chained to the sacrificial slab took 9 days to film. So it's like, you're gonna take 9 days to film laying on a piece of concrete.
It's not, maybe because there's so much. It's so visual effects heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There's a lot going on.
There is, but that seems like a long time.
Sure does.
Yeah. Okay. So recasting.
Yes.
Anna Friel was considered for Evelyn.
Oh, I love Anna Friel.
Interesting. I can see that.
And then in Joe Dante's version of the mummy would have been Daniel Day-Lewis.
No.
It would have been so weird in like this scary,
way.
low budget horror film, and it's just Daniel Day-Lewis.
That is fucking
You know,
weird.
Daniel Day-Lewis would actually become a mummy to play that role.
Oh, for sure. He would like get his brain pulled out and everything.
Yeah. You know, they used to pull the brain out by the nose.
Yeah, they say that in the movie.
Oh, do they say that in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like, if you know like anything about ancient Egypt, you know that when you're getting mummified, you're getting your brain pulled out through your nose.
You know what they did
I learned that at the Indianapolis Children's Museum when I was 5.
You know what they didn't talk about was how they actually like dry out the skin. Do you remember when those workers they open it up and
they
there's
have like
the
that
salt
acid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they used to use something called natron, which was salt, but like it's a very specific kind of salt, and they would pack the body with the natron to dry out everything.
Yeah, they're like, I think this is how I know so much. Like, no, I used to know a lot more about it. At the Indianapolis Children's Museum, which used to be like my favorite place in the world when I was younger. I haven't gone there in a while, but they have an entire exhibit dedicated to ancient Egypt. And there's this maze that you can go through, and it's really interactive, and you can see like Cleopatra, like a statue of her like getting ready. And it's like they have all these ancient artifacts, and it's really cool.
Was there a statue with her and like an asp? And she was like dead?
No. And then they have like a sarcophagus and stuff. And they like explain the embalming process. It's so cool, and I really want to go back. But yeah.
That's cool.
Shout out to the Indianapolis Children's Museum.
Tight.
So now I have some fun Rick O'Connell castings.
Okay.
I'm going to leave my favorite one for last. But Stephen Durham auditioned for the role, but was rejected because Stephen Summers liked his acting so much that he made up the character of Mr. Henderson just for him.
Who's Mr. Henderson?
I think he's one of the Americans, maybe.
I have no idea who this actor is.
Yeah, me neither.
Steven, how do you spell it?
Dunham. Stephen Dunham. I'm pretty sure he's one of the Americans.
Okay.
Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Chris O'Donnell, and Matthew McConaughey were considered for the role of Rick. Cruise would later star as the lead in the reboot of The Mummy in 2017.
Stephen Dunham died.
When?
2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he one of the Americans?
He is. He's the fellow that was wearing the hat.
The blonde
Yeah.
The blonde guy? Okay.
Yeah, I would say he was the
the
handsomest
lead,
of the
lead
group.
of them.
Yeah.
The lead of them. And then before Brendan Fraser, the role was offered to Sly Stallone. It would have
Really?
been super weird.
That would have been great. I would have fucking loved to see that movie.
we got a mummy
Been, like,
here.
this all, like,
The mummy's got
gone.
moxie. The mummy's got moxie. Got a little moxie.
And then this one I feel like is kind of strange. Bruce Campbell and Kurt Russell.
As the mummy?
No, as
Rick
Rick.
O'Connell?
Bruce Campbell as Rick O'Connell would have been fun.
And honestly, I can see Kurt Russell in there too. That would be pretty awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Bruce Campbell, that fits his
You know,
whole thing.
it's
so good.
yeah.
It's funny that-
But it's just like Evil Dead all over again, I feel like.
Yeah, that's what he
pretty
does.
much. Yeah,
I mean,
but with a mummy.
He would play Elvis Presley fighting a mummy in Bubba Hotep, also available from Shout Factory.
Boom.
But
Plug heavy
seriously,
episode.
and he fights a mummy. But that long list of like A-listers,
Yeah.
I feel like they always are considering.
Oh, yeah,
like,
they're
a ton
always
of really big
considering.
names without like seriously having them in consideration.
Yeah. And then I have one more that
All right.
really excites me, and I probably would have seen this movie at 9 years old had this casting happened.
Barney the Dinosaur.
I was 9,
Mickey
Joe, not 3.
Mouse. No.
Leonardo DiCaprio is rumored to have been offered the role of Rick O'Connell. It's believed DiCaprio was said to have loved the script and wanted to be in the film. However, he had already agreed to star in The Beach in 2000. It had also been said that DiCaprio asked if The Beach could be delayed so he could film The Mummy, but producers refused. However, filming of The Beach was delayed anyways. So if Leonardo DiCaprio had been Rick O'Connell, I would have been all over this movie.
That is so weird.
No,
Because he would have been pretty boy Leonardo DiCaprio at the time, not
He would have been like baby
Jack
type.
Nicholson
Yeah.
slightly looking Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio the way he is
He
now.
would have been like Titanic Leo.
Yeah, and also, I feel like
Also, does Leo have comedic chops?
no,
I don't think
Not
so.
at all.
But the thing
Right?
is,
It wouldn't have
he's
been
not-
probably wouldn't
yeah.
have been as funny.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and one of the joys of this movie is that it's silly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, and the funny thing is, though, is I feel like DiCaprio has not really been in any fun movies.
That's true.
Except until Inception.
I would say Django.
I would say until Inception, he'd not been in any fun.
And
like,
Inception's not really
crowd-pleasing movies.
fun.
No.
But it's a big fun action movie.
It's
Yeah.
got
It's
fun
I feel like the
pieces.
most fun movie that I have seen him in is Wolf of Wall Street, just because it's like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very outlandish.
It's true.
I mean, Django's a fun movie. He's not a fun character.
No, he's not a fun character in it, but it is a fun movie.
for sure. I that's one of my favorite Tarantino
Tarantino
films.
movies, it's a great movie.
Yeah, that's everything I got.
That's really
Nice.
interesting.
Yeah, that Bruce Campbell one. Yeah, I mean, you're right in that it would be like Bubba Hotep,
Yeah,
but I think he would have been a perfect fit.
yeah.
Like have everything the same, 1920s setting,
Mm-hmm.
everything the same, just him
Yeah.
as Rick O'Connell. That's so
But-
good. It
but
would just be Ash. It would just be Ash.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, but Rick O'Connell would have been significantly sleazier than Brendan Fraser could ever play him, because he
He'd
was
be
like,
gritty too. I feel like.
no, he'd be
He'd be
sleazy.
yeah, sleazy and silly. Kind of,
Yeah.
it'd be a little bit the same. It'd be like the same, but like with Bruce Campbell. I don't
Yeah.
know. And he'd be saying cool stuff like groovy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
that would be great.
I don't know.
Joe, get in your time machine. Let's do this.
All right, make this movie over again.
So overall thoughts, rewatching it.
It's fun. I mean, it's a fun movie. It's not a great movie
Yeah.
by movie making standards, but it's fun and enjoyable. I still enjoy it watching it.
Joe, same feelings as before.
You know, it's funny actually. I think I enjoyed talking about it more
More
than
than
I did
watching it?
enjoy watching it. But I mean, I was watching it Sunday, and there was a point towards like the last 45 minutes of the film. I was kind of like in and out. I was having a lot of trouble staying awake, not because of the movie, just because of
Tired, just
tired,
generally.
just because I'm old.
Because you're an old
Yeah.
man. Because he's 56 years
We
old.
fall asleep.
He's older than that.
Yeah,
He's like 80.
Yeah, at least. I've lost count.
I fell asleep watching this movie.
Well, that's because you work too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I had more fun talking about it than I did watching it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a movie of its time.
Definitely.
It is
in
definitely
a really
movie,
hard way.
It is a 1999 movie.
Yeah, it's not a movie for the ages.
No.
But there's a lot of fun bits to it.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed the hell out of the classic Jerry Goldsmith score. Which is really great. Jerry Goldsmith never phones it in, and
that's something that we hadn't really talked about, was how much, like, as from the first frame of this movie, it felt like, well, like, after the whole, like, Imhotep dying and stuff, like, once you get to Rick's character, it felt very much like an Indiana Jones, like, with the color palette, with the set dressings, with the score even. It felt very much like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and Indiana Jones itself is based on the Old Republic serials, which this movie feels like it's sort of taking its nods from as well.
Yeah. Like, it even had a heavy machinery flying in the air scene.
Yeah, with that old guy, which was funny. I did love how wasted that old guy was.
Oh, yeah.
Bernard Cribbins, or I think his name, not Bernard Cribbins, but yeah, when he's like walking through the fountain and he does it once, and then he does it again, walking back, and both time he's like, oh, it's wet.
The first time he goes like, some old chap spilled their drink, and I was like, oh my god, that's great.
Yeah, well, that was good. That was fun.
He's like, I got to get to the base, and it's just him sitting on like a mound of sand with a guy holding an umbrella.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But yeah, I enjoyed this movie, but it definitely shows its age.
Yeah,
it's fun though. It's fun. I'd probably watch it again, but
I'd
not
watch
anytime
it again.
soon.
I'll watch it again tomorrow.
You do that. You watch all 3 movies. And
I will. Let's have a marathon, guys. I'll make the popcorn. Chicago style popcorn.
Yes.
All right.
Well, I forgot to bring this up at the top of the episode because
we were so excited.
Johnny is pregnant.
I am. I'm due in 2 weeks.
But you can follow Johnny's journey of pregnancy on our Twitter and Instagram at Nostalgitis, Nostalgitis.
And you can also look forward to our explain a film plot badly.
Yeah, it's our new
on our
series.
Instagram.
We're starting on Instagram.
Got a good one for the mummy.
Yeah, I've seen it and it's fun. And you can also email us any thoughts, suggestions for movies that we should watch.
What's your favorite type of popcorn? I mean, really.
Yeah.
And you can make a list like Amy's got.
Yeah. Or, just tell us how much you hate us or how much you love us.
Don't tell us how much you hate us. That's rude.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about that.
On email at
sensitive.
nostalgiaeffectpod@gmail.com. Or you can do what, Johnny? Rate and review us on iTunes.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. You can rate or review us on iTunes.
I mean, I can't physically because I'm pregnant, but you can if you're not pregnant.
The pregnancy inhibits you from using your phone to rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
I can't do that because I don't know how to
That's
use technology.
True. Joe is so old, he doesn't know how to use technology. It's a wonder that we are doing this podcast because Joe's our technology supervisor.
Microphones is old school.
Indeed.
But thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to be kind and rewind.
Yeah, and don't read from the book. Seriously, it's never a good idea. So
And eat Chicago style popcorn. That's all I gotta say.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.